Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at my Morakniv knife collection. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's jump right into it then. We'll start with the Mora Companion, basically because I've had this blade the longest. It's a pretty simple fixed blade. The sheath is very simple plastic, has a couple drain holes there and a belt loop. The knife itself is a 4.5 inch blade with a Scandinavian grind there. A very comfortable rubberized grip, fits the hand well. They make two different versions of this knife. There's a heavy duty with a thicker spine, and then they have just the normal companion. The companion ranges from $15.99 to about $20, so very budget friendly. Only con on this knife is it's not full tang, so it's not the kind of knife that I use typically for camp chores and especially bushcraft. Just because it doesn't have that full tang blade, but it's very capable nonetheless. As you see, it has been used quite a bit for the last several years. Got a little patina on it. I do use this as my garden and yard knife mostly. When I go to mow grass and work in the garden a little bit, you'll see this knife on my hip. It's got a very bright sheath, so if it does happen to get lost, if I take it off my hip, easy to find. All right, let's move on to another Mora. Okay, so the neck knife, the Eldrs. I have reviewed some of these knives in past videos, but I thought I'd just do a collection and let you see everything in my collection with Mora. So yeah, neck knife, the Eldrs comes in the same kind of plastic sheath. No nonsense drain holes or where you can tie it. Real good retention on the sheath, so always been happy with that. I've never had it slide out. Now the Eldrs doesn't see too much action. It actually stays in my I have a kit, a fire making kit for canoe trips, and so it stays in this little box. There's a past video of it being shown with the things I carry in that fire box, but I do typically, if the weather's really bad and I have a heavy coat on, I will wear it over the coat, so I do have a blade close by. A lot of times when a long coat like that covers up your hip, it makes it sometimes difficult to get to your blade. So a neck knife comes in handy for those times. So yeah, it's a very small blade, as you can see. I think it's 2.5 inches right here with a compound grind. You see the Scandi grind there. It's Scandi grind all the way up, but it gets a little thinner there towards the tip. I think it's a great little fire making knife. It has a 90-degree spine there. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the companion does not come with a 90-degree spine. So I filed it down to have a 90-degree spine if I ever did want to use it for fire making. But that's what the little Eldrs is good for. It's a good little whittling knife. So if you're sitting around camp and you have your neck knife on you, because of the short blade, it's good for whittling, and it has a marvelous grip. I like it better than the grip on the companion. It's rubberized around this outside. Now this is plastic here, but it's just a very nice grip, and to be such a small knife, you can really get your chops on it. So yeah, the Mora Eldrs, their small version. Now they do make another version of this called the Light, and the only difference is it's a Scandi grind all the way to the tip, and so a lot of people like to get that light version. So yeah, good pick there. Moving on, we're going to check out the Cansbowl. Now I have done a full review of this a few videos back if you're interested in checking that out. So I won't go into too much detail on the knife, but I chose the survival kit for this. So it has a sharpening surface here, diamond sharpening surface here. It has a ferro rod here, and that's kind of nice. I've used it quite a bit. Nice dangler loop, which I prefer over just a short belt loop. And just a plastic sheath like all the other Mora knives have, except for the Garberg. There is an option for a leather sheath. We'll get to that. But anyway, yeah, so the Cans Bowl knife is an interesting knife. And I have found myself taking this knife on hikes, especially day hikes where I'm not necessarily, building a bushcraft camp or, starting fire or whatever. Although it's very capable of starting a fire because of the 90-degree spine there. It strikes that ferro rod really well. But yeah, just on a day hike, if I want a complete 4.5-inch blade, it's super light. It has the same kind of compound grind that the Eldrs does, Scandinavian grind here, and then it kind of, as you can see, towards the tip gets thinner, and just makes for a nice food prep knife too. So if I'm doing a day hike and I'm taking a little food with me to cook, awesome to cut up some potatoes or onions or mushrooms or what have you. The grip is fantastic as well. Same type of grip as the Eldrs. Obviously a little bit longer. So, I mean, I have medium to large size hands, so it fits my hand really good. And yeah, this is a stainless steel version. They don't make a carbon version. And I forgot to mention, my companion is carbon steel. The Eldrs is stainless steel only, and the Cans Bowl is stainless steel only. They only offer stainless steel, 12 C27 stainless steel on those two knife versions. Which is fine for what I use it for. But yeah, that's the Mora Cans Bowl knife. If you're looking for a 4.5-inch blade that's really, really light but capable, I highly recommend this one. Probably in that $35 range without the survival kit. And I forgot to mention that Eldrs was in that $35 range as well. And also something to note is if you didn't want to carry the Eldrs around your neck and you did want to take it on your hip, the dangler is removable and will fit the Eldrs sheath. So that's kind of cool. I like how some of their knives are interchangeable like that. All right, moving on to probably my favorite Morakniv knife. This is the Morakniv Garberg. I've done a review on this as well several months back. I took it out on a day hike and processed some wood and did a little food prep. And so, yeah, check that one out if you like. But wanted to definitely include this knife in this video. Same type of plastic sheath, synthetic leather dangler, drain holes like all the rest of them have. Now this knife is definitely heavier than the Cans Bowl. The steel is thicker. The steel is a complete full tang. So as you can see right there, the knife comes all the way through. So this is the knife that I take when I do want to process wood for bushcraft, split some wood, make kindling, things like that. Totally capable for fire making too because of the 90-degree spine. The Scandinavian grind goes the full length from base to tip. And it's also a 90-degree spine on this tang right here. So you could take your knife, put it in your sheath, and strike fires that way. The Garberg is obviously a little bit more of a survival blade. Same 4.5-inch blade there, but because it is full tang, this would be the knife. Well, actually, this is the knife that I keep in my bug out bag now. I replaced the SE5 in my bug out bag with the Garberg just because the SE was so heavy and took up so much room and that kind of stuff. I still do love that blade, and I still take that blade on, say, weekend camping trips where I want to process a good amount of wood. But the Garberg sees way more action now, if you will. I did put a little lanyard on it. So if I'm doing a chopping task, I have that extra peace of mind with that wrapped around my wrist without it flying away. The only con for me with this knife is the handle. It's not terrible, but it's not as comfortable and it doesn't have near as much grip as the Kansbowl handle. I'm not sure why that is. I'm guessing to keep the price down as much as they can on this knife. I paid $67 for the Garberg, and if I had got the leather sheath that I mentioned, that you can choose from for the Garberg, that would have sent the price up to over $100. Or if I would have added the survival kit, like on the Kansbowl, it would have taken it on up to that $100 range. So, yeah, for $67, $69, this knife is really hard to beat. Ask any outdoorsman, especially bushcraft or survivalists, if they're familiar with the Mora Garberg, and they'll probably tell you that they are. So yeah, my favorite Mora, the Garberg. Okay, I'm just going to briefly talk about my wood carving tools, because they don't really, there's really not any type of purpose but to wood carve, to carve wood. So all of these knives, except for maybe the spoon carving knife, you've probably seen in previous videos. But if you've never watched my videos and this is the first one, I wanted you to see it. So we'll start with the one I got first. This is their Sloyd knife, and this is just this general woodworking knife. Has a short blade, a Scandinavian grind, easy to sharpen, super sharp. I try to keep that, it gets dull pretty quick because this is a carbon version, so do have to sharpen this knife pretty regularly after carving a spoon or a bowl or something like that. But really cool little knife, fits really good in the hand. You can get that detailed work there towards the tip. Just all around good Sloyd knife. So there are a lot of different brands out there that offer wood carving tools, but I've been so satisfied with the Mora brand that I just decided to go with these two, and yeah, just stick with it. Now I will say this little, I wish they had done something a little different than this little plastic sheath here, because it does not retain at all, and this knife constantly falls out of the sheath. I think I am going to try and modify some kind of little way to strap this to it where it connects to the sheath a little better. Maybe a little paracord wrapped around here, or a tire tube or something like that, just to hold it in place, because I actually did dent the tip of this thing by it falling out of the sheath one day onto concrete. This is the 120. They make a 106, which is a longer blade, but that's that. All right, so last but not least is probably the last Mora knife that I've bought to add to my collection. And so yeah, this is just the hook knife. 164 I think is the model number, but it came with a really nice little leather sheath, which I really appreciate. I wish kind of they had just done something with the Sloyd knife similar to that. But yeah, so this is the Mora 164 hook knife, right-handed version. You can get 3 different versions of this knife, I believe. You can get a right-handed version, a left-handed version, and then a version that has, or a model that has the edge on both sides. So with the right-handed version, the edge, the cutting edge, is just there on that side. So there again, another comfortable handle. I've used it. I've carved 3 or 4 spoons since I bought the knife, and I have sharpened it once. It is a little tricky to sharpen a hook knife, and I'm still learning, taking it kind of easy, not putting too much on it. But yeah, so Morakniv hook knife. All right, so yeah, so thank you for joining me on this video, and my purpose of putting this video together was kind of to show people just getting into camping and bushcraft and maybe a little bit of wood carving, that there is a brand out there that doesn't have to break the bank. I have been 3 years in with Mora knives, and I'm totally confident in their performance and durability, and I've put some of them through some heavy duty stuff. Yeah, so signing off for now, and I'll see you guys soon.